Yo, what is good, Shifted Lens family? Welcome back to the Shifted Lens podcast, where we're discussing the ideologies of the Black community, our strengths, our weaknesses, and just trying to build a better people, killing harmful stereotypes, and trying to fix and build the issues within our community. And so today, of course, we have our guest, Tavia, today.
Hi.
Yeah.
Tavia Miller. I'm a social work major here at Oakwood, and I'm a freshman.
Fantastic. And we're just gonna go straight into it. We're gonna do the truth, stereotype, or nuance. We're gonna run that real quick. We'll start with the first one. Shaming people for not knowing their African roots is common in our community. I would have to say, I don't know about shaming. It depends on what you consider shaming, right? Because my friend, he's like full like American, like he doesn't know where he's from.
Yeah.
And sometimes we joke him for it, and it's all in good faith and good fun. But obviously he doesn't get hurt by it. But someone could experience that and take it the wrong way, maybe take it to heart. So I guess the feeling of shame within that person, I guess it can be considered shaming at sometimes. And sometimes it can be harmful and, just really hurt somebody's self-image because, we're all from the continent of Africa. So it's like,
some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So there's no reason to shame anybody for not knowing their African roots unless they're refusing to learn about their African roots. Not to shame them, but like they should want to know where they came from. And things of that nature.
I think as well, it's kind of a stereotype. I don't know, because when I was younger, nobody wanted to be African. Nobody wanted to be Caribbean or from another place other than African American. Like if you were African or like you're direct descendant, like I'm Nigerian, I'm whatever, I'm Kenyan, like you were made fun of.
Yeah, it was a rough time.
Oh, you have some experience with that, Cairo?
Quite a bit, actually.
A little bit traumatized.
Just a little. But it was never like I was very headstrong as a kid, so it never really hurt me.
Yeah.
But I have siblings who experienced that, and it hurt their self-image a lot, even to this day. And you can still see it. They're still proud of their heritage, but it hurts to think back on what they had to go through to find that kind of love.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I kind of went through the same thing because, I was born in Jamaica, but I never really grasped that. I never really fully, was confident in that because everybody was like, oh, I'm African American. I was born here, whatever. So I was like, okay, I'll just fit in, guys. I'm
definitely
African American too, even though I'm Afro-Caribbean, So yeah, I feel like nobody really wanted to embrace their heritage, but I don't think even now nobody's shamed for, not knowing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's not like it's on purpose. That was still on purpose.
Cool. Then the next one, the African American community relies on celebrities as community leaders, and their influence is strong in all generations. I'm gonna have to go. That's not a stereotype. I don't think it's a stereotype. I don't think it's 100. Yeah, it's nuance, most definitely. There's a lot of people that our community looks up to, and those people are the poster child for all the stereotypes put on our people. So, people in like the industry when it comes to rap music or, the type of music they make, I should say. A lot of Black male rappers always talk about having sex with women, gangs and whatnot. Just talking about, just anything referencing the hood life and things like that. And sometimes I see that and I'm just like, that does no justice for people. And obviously that's not all artists, There's people like Michael Jackson who represent, Black music on the biggest scale possible. And I think that's a very positive representation of what our music should be. Because, his music, it's really for everybody. But, the music that Black males in particular produce on the negative side affects the male demographic of Black men in ways that people don't really understand. Because even if people didn't grow up in that kind of environment, they listen to that kind of music and it alters their mindset.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then for women, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Sexy Red, they
I know.
You don't know? Okay. But it's like they at least like they produce crazy music in some regard, and it has affected our women too. And I just, as far as those kind of leaders go, we are not heading in a good direction with having them have so much influence over our people.
So you're saying the question said entertainers?
Celebrities, big names, just people's faces that are always in the media, it could be actors, performers, singers, artists.
I don't know. I think it is nuance as well. It definitely requires context because it depends on where you look. Because people choose
who they follow.
Yeah. Right. So young Black men are choosing. Either they look up to Malcolm X or they look up to Youngboy. It's definitely who you're learning from, who you choose to take on the characteristics of. Who you let lead your life. And I think it's a nuance. You definitely have to pick and choose, because I feel like on a major scale, yes, because these rappers or these entertainers have more of a following, they're more out there. They're easily definitely accessible.
Very.
So they influence the minds of children more frequently. But there are children who are still looking up to, like, I was about to say Sojourner Truth. But who's that lady who sat on the
Rosa Parks?
No, not Rosa Parks, bro. The lady who sat on it was she was a judge.
I forgot her name.
I think she just passed too.
Yeah.
She passed recently. But the first Black judge to sit on the board of something. There's young women who are still looking up to, Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Who's still going out doing her stuff. So there's other influences that people are looking at. It's just sadly they're not as widely influential.
Yeah. It could also be like a not knowing your history kind of thing. And that's why I like bringing up the unknown icons.
Yeah.
Because even the ones people do know, they don't, they know their story, but they don't connect with it as much. Like a story like Claudette Colvin, who sat on a bus and was told to get up from her seat 6 months before Rosa Parks. They did not rally behind her the same way they did Rosa Parks, because she had a child out of wedlock.
She was a teenager
too. Teenager, darker skin, and Rosa Parks was literally the opposite. And they said, we can work with Rosa Parks, and we can, make this civil rights action something worthy with her better than, Claudette. And so those kind of stories are the kind of stories where you can look up to them and be like, those are the kind of people I want to be like. And not that Rosa Parks is bad, but like that story connects more with our generation because there's so much of that going on. People being looked down upon because of their mistakes and not being seen as worthy of, respect or care.
Yeah.
And so like, if you know your history and you know all these leaders, past or present, and you really look for a good guy, you can find one. Mm-hmm. And it's not as hard as people think. So yeah, we're gonna get into it's gonna have 2 topics for today. First one's gonna be like a smaller segment with questions and whatnot. So we're gonna start off with our first topic: Black women deserve softness too. Unpacking the strong Black woman trope and its effects on dating and friendships. So, to keep this, a little bit shorter, because I want to get to the main topic, we're gonna ask 3 questions. How does the strong Black woman trope affect dating and friendships?
So first, it depends on the strong Black woman trope that you're referencing.
The strong Black woman trope applies to, getting your degree, or, taking care of a family, or, a lot of friendships I see when it's like guys and girls friendship, or just girls. There's always that one person that they know they can go to. That's the strong friend. The person that everybody goes to, but maybe that person doesn't have someone for them, I've seen that in some of my friend groups. It's like you see them as a strong friend, so you don't see them as somebody who can struggle.
Okay. Yeah. I think that trope does get placed on Black women a lot, just because we're more quiet with how we struggle, or some are more quiet with how we struggle. We tend to keep it either between us and God, or us and the 2 other friends we may have or feel comfortable sharing it with.
Right.
So when you ask, like, how does the strong Black woman trope affect dating and friendships? I think first, for friendships, like as I was saying, you kind of keep all your struggles to yourself. You're kind of the enigma of the friend group. You never know what's going on with them. So it does tend to maybe push some people away. You could get looked down on because even though you are struggling, you keep it to yourself, but you're also still prospering in other aspects of your life. And people are like, oh, she's so stuck up. Yeah. She's like chasing after that degree so hard. She never wants to hang out with anybody. She never wants to have fun. But you never know what that person has going on behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing for dating, but on a more personal level, because if you're interested in someone, you want to know all about that person, I guess, or you want to get to know them on a deeper level. But if you're considered a strong Black woman, quote unquote, you don't really open yourself up in that way. So, men would perfectly go for the woman who's more open, more vibrant, more willing to share, more accessible, compared to a Black woman who kind of like guards her heart from a lot of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think I'm the most qualified to speak on this, but
if you like had that experience with or you think you've had that experience with a woman who's like considered a strong Black woman?
My mother.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like she's like, because like obviously she's married and my dad takes care of us too, but mothers have a certain kind of energy when it comes to loving and caring for their children that's very specific, or very specific in how they protect their children. Because obviously dads do too, but they do it differently. And I don't know how to explain it because I'm not a woman. But I can feel it. It feels different.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even if my mom is like going through something or sad or anything like that, like sometimes we notice, but she does a great job at letting her children feel like she's just so up here,
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that as I got older, I asked my mom if she's okay, like any chance I get, because some days she could not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like she'll talk about it. But when we were younger, she did her best to hide her not her emotions, because she definitely showed that she loved us, but to hide the sadness she might have had. And so seeing that strength in my mother and taking care of us, that's where I see the strong Black woman trope in the most positive light.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And question 2, what does a strong Black woman look like in a positive light? So yeah. So what does a strong Black woman embody to you? Like in any aspects you can think of.
Okay, I feel like you kind of like hit the nail on the head when talking about your experience with your mom. But for me, I guess a strong Black woman is like, let's take it back to the media. Like Michelle Obama. When she first she first came into office with Barack, she was heavily criticized. They said she was too masculine. They said she wasn't professional. They were just like critiquing every little thing that she did, but she still was professional. She didn't retaliate to the media. She didn't have like outbursts, or she wasn't cursing up a storm. You never heard that she was talking bad about anybody. She still retained like her composure, her femininity. Yeah, so I think that is what a strong Black woman is. Someone who is heavily criticized, as all Black women are, but they still exude, feminine excellence.
Yeah.
Yes, excellence. That's a great,
too,
that's a great way to say it. Like they still exude excellence despite what's going on in their life.
And then what does I guess I have to rephrase the question. What does a strong Black woman look like in a negative light? I don't want that to be taken out of context, but some people may describe the idea of being a strong Black woman as something completely different than what you just did or what I just did. So is there any like ways that a woman may show strength that could be toxic or negatively affect them?
Yeah, definitely. I think one that's been in the media is the angry Black woman. Like flip to say, oh, that's what a strong Black woman looks like, to make it a negative connotation. But that's just always been in the media. Black women are loud. Black women get angry a lot. They don't know how to control their emotions. They're always having outbursts. I think that's what, people kind of connect to Black women in general if they're not meek, or if they're not letting people walk over them. You're like, oh wow, girl, you're so strong, whatever, but you're just standing up for yourself. Yeah, like you're standing up for yourself, but you're considered to be loud, you're considered to be ghetto, things like that. As well, going back to the media, I think shows like reality TV shows that show Black women in negative light, that's all over like Zeus Network and things like that. They're considered strong Black women because they're chasing after a bag, or they're fighting, or they're protecting their territory or whatever.
Right.
They're considered strong Black women, but that's just one aspect of a specific genre of what Black women are doing, and that's not to be portrayed on Black women as a whole, I guess.
All right. And we're gonna get to our like main topic, I guess. I called this episode the beauty tax. Why do Black women always have to be put together?
In recent kind of years, we still haven't reached the full, oh, we're so proud of our hair, we're so proud of our, features or our colors, the different wide ranges
I get that.
that go throughout the Black community. But we're not all the way there yet. But we definitely made some heading on what it used to be like, because I
It was
know
bad in middle school, elementary.
no, it was terrible. And it's so sad because, like, as you said, sometimes it wasn't just white people, it wasn't just other um people outside of the Black race. It was definitely sometimes
Your own
people. So yeah, it's just really, really sad. But I'm glad I haven't heard like, oh my gosh, girl, why isn't your hair done? If my hair was in a fro that day or something like that, or if I, decided to, I don't know, let my braids stay in for maybe a good month or something. Like nobody's like, oh my gosh, girl, what is going on in your head? Is there a rat's nest there?
Crazy.
Yeah. So I think definitely there has been headway with more embracing our natural looks.
Got you. Good stuff. And then, yeah, I guess we kind of like covered it all, but like covering what the beauty standard looks like in different areas of life.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start off with, in the workplace. I guess I can speak from a male perspective. Feel me? So it's like,
feel me?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot harder for me to, level up if I don't cut my locks off. And that's the unfortunate truth. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a judge. These are dreams and aspirations I have. That's going to be a lot harder to do with locks.
Let 'em go.
But I've also been rebellious my whole life. So it's like, you're not going to get me to cut my locks off for that reason. Yeah. If I cut my locks off, I'm cutting them because I want to cut them. So it's like, obviously, it's a decision between conforming, and conforming is not bad as long as it doesn't affect how you view yourself too much. Like if you choose to cut your locks off because you know that for a fact that these people will not hire you and you want that job, that's you. And I will not shame you for that. But I also don't want you to come to me and tell me something like, oh, you'll have better luck if you cut it off. It's like, I don't think you're going to make it very far as a lawyer if you don't cut those locks off. I've heard that a couple times, but I'm willing to take the chance to show that my intellect or, my energy is respected and seen more than my hair. Because at the end of the day, hair shouldn't be something that disqualifies you from, anything unless you're just completely unkept. Because there's levels. I take care of my locks, but some people don't take care of their hair at all. Locks, fro, taper, waves. Like some people, it doesn't matter what hairstyle you have, you can still look crazy if you don't take care of yourself. So I think, in the workplace, if you're willing to conform, I can understand that. But yeah.
And I guess I'll speak on the women's behalf. I feel like before locks became a thing or became more of the norm among black men had the fro or they had it short. That's what y'all had. It was either
there was no in between,
or you had a bald cut. But for women, we always had different ways to express ourselves through our hair. And we all know that there was the Crown policy put into place, the Crown Act put into place because women were like, hey, let me wear my hair naturally the way that I want to wear it in the workplace, and it shouldn't be criticized. I shouldn't have to be fired. I shouldn't have to, as you say, conform to white men standards just to get a job. So we made our moves with that, and now we have so many different styles where we have locks, we have braids, we have fro, we have bald, we have dyed hair, and still, people aren't saying it forthright. But when you come into an interview with your hair the way you want it, they make a initial judgment, and everybody does. Everybody makes initial judgments based on physical appearance. But as you said, your hair doesn't define who you are as a person and who you are professionally.
Yeah.
You can be a lawyer with locks and a half and half dye job, you can be a doctor and, have a blonde bust down, and still get your work done. But people, because of, the way people view you or the way the media has portrayed hair, people make initial judgments, because I said blonde bust down, that's something that comes from culture, that comes from like rap culture, that comes from the beauty culture that's now in America for the Black women. And when you hear that, you think, ghetto, think hood rat girl with a blonde bust down all the way through her ankles. But who says that she can't go and, own her own business and things like that? So yeah, that's what I think.
That's good stuff. It's crazy because I was doing some research about, some of the statistics about workplace environments and, Black women, and the Crown Coalition is what mainly showed up, and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Some statistics I found were that Black women's hair was 2 times more likely to be perceived as unprofessional. And 25% of Black women say they've been denied a job interview because of their hair. And then 66% of Black women change their hair for a job. And 41% of those switch from curly coily to straight styles. And then Black women are 54% more likely to feel that they must wear straight hair to succeed in interviews. And, that's just a few of them. But it's like, it's obviously skewed to limit us from moving forward in the professional field. Because, if they don't catch you by your name, because, Black people, sometimes their names are very exotic and different. If they don't catch it by their name, your resume could have you as the greatest person ever. You going for the interview. Now it's like, oh, they're Black. They got locks, about 1.5 long locks, brown locks, red locks, whatever. Immediate judgment. And even if it's something well kept, like even if you walk in with weave, you can still be perceived as unprofessional because, the norm is straight hair. Doesn't matter what color, really. Because, our white counterparts, blonde, brunette, redhead, dark, whatever colors they have is acceptable. It's just the way our hair looks to whoever's offering the interview or whatever, that they feel like they have to nitpick at that.
Yeah.
Because they're already trying to limit us from success. And they can't do it by your intellect. And they can't do it by your demeanor, your poise, and all of that. They have to pick something. They don't want to go for racial discrimination because that will get them sued. This could get them sued too, but they go for something that can be looked at as, oh, this is just personal preference rather than just, bigotry. Because you could say you don't want to hire somebody because of their skin tone. Good luck explaining that in court.
Yeah.
But if you say we only hire people with certain styles that look professional to us, that's completely allowed by the system, unfortunately. And so, it's harder for us to move forward in the workplace because of that. So yeah, you got anything?
No, I think the same thing. I think, even if it's not an interview, if you already got the job. I was thinking of how, I don't know if you know this, but like Gabby Douglas and Simone Biles,
Yeah.
like gold medal gymnasts,
Plenty.
and they're doing amazing in their career field, but after whatever goes on at the Olympics, after all the pictures are taken, and you go on Twitter and you're not seeing them being praised for, oh my gosh, girl, you just beat the system. You're a gold medalist, a Black woman. You're saying, girl, why did your hair look like that? You couldn't have slicked down your edges. You couldn't have put the bun together more. And it's not even just white people, as you're saying. It was Black people that were bashing them because it was viewed as ghetto or it was viewed as unkept. But they weren't being viewed for their performance, but only their physical appearance.
Right.
So that's definitely an issue that's still going on, especially in the Black.
Yeah. And then the beauty standard in social environments. I mean, I go to a HBCU, so half the people here have locks like me. A lot of them wear their natural hair, some wear weaves, some wear wigs, and we don't judge. But if you go to like a PWI, you're gonna probably get some backlash. Especially if you're in like a class and it's like you're the only Black person, which I've had some friends who have experienced that. Like, it's not fun when they're judging. And then like group project comes around, now what do you do? Or, you need help with something, maybe you need some notes, sick, miss the class. They might think, oh, they skipped or whatever, or they're unprofessional students. Those kind of things can happen. But yeah, that's what I have right now.
Socially, I think the same thing. I think when you're on a HBCU campus, you feel more safe to express yourself because everybody else is doing the same thing, or everybody else, more or less had the same cultural upbringing. Everybody's like, oh, I wear box braids. Oh, I wear wigs. Oh, everybody. I wear my hair in a fro. So you don't feel like you're being targeted, or you don't feel like you're being made fun of because of the way you express yourself on your head. And, more of your personality and more of your professional qualities can shine because you're not being judged because you're on a safe campus. But when you step off the campus, you're getting thrown into another culture, because Alabama is mostly white. You always, or I think I'm always aware of the way that I look when I go off campus more, because I never want to be targeted, or I just don't want to hear the talks of people. I
don't want to deal with it.
Like, it was always hammered into me, girl, you're never gonna wear your bonnet outside of the house. Like, that's not something that happens. That's not what you do. That's not professional at all. You never wear your scarf out of the house. You're never wearing, well, this doesn't have to do with hair, but you're never wearing pajamas outside of the house. You always have to be aware of how you look. And it doesn't have to be professional, but it has to
be presentable.
It has to look non-threatening, I guess. So that's something I've always just been aware of, and it's kind of creeped into how I look at other people, publicly, I guess. And it's something I'm working on, guys. But if I see someone, male or female, with the bonnet on in public, I'm like, what are you doing? Get it together. Pull it off.
I'll be honest. Sometimes I wear mine out because
I know
if I'm going to breakfast or something.
But again, that's on campus.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like
outside at
stores, or Target, or at a restaurant.
Yeah. I think the airport might be an exception though. Airports aren't really that. At least while you're sitting on the plane, at least.
I guess.
Because when I'm thinking about it, like, airplanes are not as clean as people think they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't want my locks collecting all that dust and then lying down on my bed afterwards.
Yeah.
Feel me? So I would definitely wear something on my head in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But like going to the mall with a bonnet on.
Yeah, people and it's things like that where, where did it come from for us to want to look non-threatening or not ghetto? Or like, what does even looking ghetto mean? Where did that imagery come from? So that's something I just always had.
We gotta talk about that on another episode where the ghetto comes from. That's a good topic. But yeah, definitely good stuff. And then the beauty standard. What does the beauty standard in the household look like to you? I mean, pretty much covered that part, It's always about being presentable. You don't always have to look professional because you're not always going to a interview or something like that.
Yeah.
But, there is a standard in my house when we bought the house. Especially like, obviously my parents both care, but my dad cares a lot. Like if he sees you wearing something that looks slightly crazy, like, what are you wearing? Change that immediately. Mm-hmm. Like you're not walking behind me looking like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially me and my brothers growing up. We would just throw anything on and just try to go out the house. My dad would be like, no, change it. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a hole in your shirt. Why are you wearing that? Well, I like the shirt. No, find a new one. We're like, what? And we were little, so we didn't understand. Now it's like, obviously I'm not going out every day to class, formally dressed up. I usually go like this. Mm-hmm. But I make sure I look presentable and I don't, give off the wrong message that I don't care about my academics or something like that. I just like to be comfortable. So,
what do you think about wearing like pajamas to class?
I think that's a little too far. Yeah.
I've always wanted to try that, like just roll out of bed and go to class. But yeah, it's like something stops me at the door.
Yeah, it's like it sends a message that either number one, you just rolled out of bed, mm-hmm. or you didn't care enough to change your clothes.
Yeah.
Like a lot can go through someone's head when they see you in pajamas at any time of day. Mm-hmm. That's not nighttime. It's like, say you got a 10 a.m., you're at class, come in, oh, this person's in pajamas. They must have just woke up. Mm-hmm. That's the first perception. Or it's like, wait a minute. Did they even do anything before they came here? Did they brush their teeth? Did they do anything?
Yeah.
Like a lot can go through someone's head when they see you in public with nothing but pajamas on. So, I do think that's too far. But wearing a hoodie to class, hoodie and sweats, mm-hmm. Unless we got some like some lawyer coming in offering internships, I'm coming in a full suit, probably. Mm-hmm. Or at least a polo, dress pants. But, a normal day of class is a normal day for me. So I'm just gonna go in what I feel is comfortable, but I'm gonna make sure I look presentable so that nobody is able to formulate any kind of stigma or stereotype or thought process about what I'm presenting or how I carry myself.
Yeah, I definitely think it is a culture thing because I was always taught growing up, you never know who you may run into on the road, My mom would always say, you never know what church member you may see on the road or things like that. So yeah, it's just about being presentable in any situation. Like you can talk to somebody, you can be offered a interview on the fly. And you don't want to be in pajamas for that. You don't want to, have a bonnet on your head when somebody's like, oh yeah, in your case, I run this law firm. And, today I was thinking about offering somebody an interview, but hey, have a good day.
And then if they film it and send it to like a hiring manager, they're like,
exactly.
Yeah, he may have said some good stuff, but he's in, pajama pants and whatever t-shirt he got on,
And it's not saying that like your physical appearance negates your professional abilities, right? But it's saying, it's important how you present yourself, because people are looking at that as, how you present yourself for others, how you present yourself for their business, or
is this your everyday?
Exactly. But that's also kind of been negative towards Black people, because we all have our own, professional attire. Africans, they have their own cultural wear that can be considered professional to them, but to others people, they're like, "What are you wearing?"
I can't wear that.
Put on a suit and tie. And it goes for a lot of African Americans, or different ethnicities, because everybody has their own cultural attire. So I guess especially when it comes to a household, it just depends. But even if all you have is, pajamas to wear that day, like if that's literally the only thing in your drawer, you also then just let your personality shine for you, And yes, it shouldn't matter what you have on.
Definitely shouldn't.
Just try to present yourself the best way you can, but also, don't try to fit in just because you don't want to, accept your heritage or accept your culture, and you want to assimilate to white culture because that's what they're hiring.
Yeah. That's good stuff. And yeah, we definitely covered everything. So we hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the video.
And your own thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll see y'all next week.